Welcome back. In this part, we are going to learn about iterators in C++. Iterators are objects that allow us to transverse through containers like vectors, lists, sets, and maps. You can think of an iterator as a pointer that moves from one element to another. Okay, so an iterator points to any element inside a container, and it allows us to read or modify elements without knowing how the container is implemented. Okay, so let us now take a look at the basic iterator syntax. Okay, so an iterator syntax is like this. The basic iterator syntax is like this. So here we need to define the container type. Okay, container type. Then after that we use double colons. Okay, double colons. Then iterator, use the iterator keyword, iterator, then we name it. Okay, so we can give it a name like that, it. So every container provides iterators using begin and end. Okay, so let us take a look at iterator with a vector. Okay, so let us first include our vector header. So hashtag include, want to include our vector like that. Okay, so let us now create a vector. So we are going to create a vector of integers like that, and let us name it numbers, and let us store 10, 20, 30. We can store also 40, but let's end from there. Okay, so from there let us create our iterator. So we can create an iterator. Okay, so here we are creating iterator to vectors, and so this one is our container type. Okay, so it's a vector type. Okay, and it stores integers. Okay, then from there we need to use this double colons, and then we use the iterator keyword. Okay, we get access to iterator, as you can see. So this one is the type def. Okay, so as you can see. Okay, so from there we use we name it it. You can name it here. Let us use it. So as you can see, it here, it's like a predefined vector, as you can see here. Okay, right here it's coming from the standard input output, as you can see. Okay, right now. So from there let us try to use our for loop. So for our it equals to numbers dot begin, we get access to that begin function on our numbers, and then we use it. This is our condition. Okay, so it not equals if it not equals to numbers dot end like that. I'm going to explain everything, then we can increment our it like that. Then from there, inside our curly brackets, we can output our here we are going to use asterisk, and then we say it, and then we can format every output with a comma like that, and a space, and then a semicolon. We try to save. Okay, so here the begin, this one, the begin on our numbers vector points to the first element. Okay, so this begin points to the first element. Okay, and the end, which is this one, the end points past the last element. Okay, and this one right here, okay, asterisk it accesses the value. Okay, this one accesses the value. Okay, and here when we use it plus plus, this one moves to the next element. Okay, so we make sure that for every output we move to the next element. Okay, so if we try to save and we try to compile, after compiling we try to run, as you can see we get 10, 20, 30 like that. Okay, so let us now take a look at how we can modify values using iterators. So iterators can also modify elements. Okay, so let us take a look at how we can do it. So here we are going to remain with our for loop. So we are going to remain with this one. We are going to iterate through like this. Okay, so from there, inside our for loop, we are going to say we are going to increment every. So here, let us output the first one, and from there, let us delete this one. And what we are going to do is we are going to try to change. Okay, so let us get that value we are on. So let us return our previous line like that, and before outputting each value, let us get that value, access that value, and let us try to increment it. Okay, so we are going to get that value that we are on, using that we are having right now, that we can access right now. Okay, using asterisk it, and then we are going to add 5 to it like that. So when we try to save and then we compile, we're going to see that we are going to have 15, 25, and 35. If we try to run, as you can see, we now have 15, 25, and 35 like that. Okay, and each element here is increased by 5, and the vector is modified directly. Okay, so let us now take a look at iterators with sets. Okay, so to use sets, we must include the set header. So hashtag include, let us include the set header like that. Then from there, let me try to comment out these lines. So press Ctrl then forward slash to comment all of them at once, and then we are going to fold these comments like like that. Okay, so after doing that, we are going to go into the next line, and we are going to start to create our first set. It's going to be a set of integers, and we are going to name it values, and we are going to set our values to have 3, 1, and 2 like that. So from there, we are going to use our for loop. So for our set, it's going to be a set. So a set of what? A set of integers, and we are going to call our iterator, and we are going to name it it, and we are going to set it to be equals to values dot begin like that. Okay, then from there we can now add our condition here. So it is not if it is not equals to values dot end like that. Then from there, let me try to remove, okay, try to expand like that, dot end. From there, we can try to increment, okay, our 8. Then from there, we are going to, inside these curly brackets, we are going to output our 8. Okay, we're going to access our value like that. Then we are going to format using a comma like that, and then at a semicolon we try to save, and then we try to compile. After compiling, we try to run, we get 1, 2, 3. Okay, so here elements are accessed in sorted order, and you cannot modify set elements directly. Okay, so let us now take a look at iterators with map. Okay, with a map. So let me try to comment down these lines, and then I try to fold all these comments. Okay, like that. Oh, I was also commenting down this one. Okay, so we don't need to comment that line because we need to return success. Okay, and we need to return an integer because our main function is returning an integer. Okay, so from there let us create our map, but we need to add that map id. Okay, so let us add hashtag include map like that. Okay, so down here we are going to create our map. It's going to be a map of strings to string to int. Okay, an integer, we are going to name it ages, and we are going to set, so let us add our values. Okay, our keys and values. So the first key is going to be John, and its associated value is 25. Let us add another one. This one is going to be called Mary. So Mary is the key, and 30. is going to be the value. Okay, so from there we'll add a semicolon. Okay, so right now let us try to use our for loop and our iterator. So a map, this one is going to be a map of string to integer, like that, and then colon colon our iterator, like that, and let us name it just give it it, okay, like that, and let us set it to be equals to ages dot begin, like that. Then from there we say that it is not equals, if it is not equals to ages dot end, like that. Okay, so dot end, then colon, then we can update our it, like that. Okay, so from there we can now try to access values. We say count. Okay, and we want to output it. We can use that dash, then greater than symbol. We get access to our first, as you can see. So here we get a first, and then we can add a space. Okay, so after adding a space we can say it, and then we can get access to the second, like that. Okay, and then we can break the line for each, move the cursor to the next line for each output. We can save, and then we go in the terminal. We try to compile. After compiling we try to run. As you can see we get Mary 30, John 25. Okay, as you can see. Okay, so it first, this one, it first accesses the key, and it second accesses the value. Okay, so if you don't want to modify elements, you should use a const iterator. Okay, so we can say we can use, okay, so we can use, instead of using this one, so here for instance, if we are working with vectors, let me show you an example with vectors. Okay, so you can say that if you have a vector of integers, like that, colon colon, you can use const iterator. Okay, as you can see, const iterator will have const reference, const pointer, const iterator. Okay, instead of using iterator like that, you can use const iterator, like that. Okay, and you can name it like that. Okay, so you can try to change the first example and change to this one. Okay, const iterator. So let us try to do it. Control X. Instead of having this one, let us paste that one there, and let us remove this line. We try to save. So you can try to use a constant iterator. Okay, so if you can try to use a constant iterator when we are working with when we worked with the vectors. Okay, and try to see if you can change. Okay, if you can change your value. So if we try to compile, after compiling we try to run, we get these ones. Okay, so like that. Okay, so let us try to see if we can change. So if we let us go back to our iterator, like that, and let us get for each output, let us get access to our it first. Okay, our first, can we set it to be equals to the first one? Okay, so as you can see here we are having an error. Okay, so as you can see here, so no operator matches these operands. Okay, so as you can see here. Okay, so no operator matches these ones. So you can try out with the vectors. Okay, you can try out with the vectors. Refer to the first example I gave you, okay, about vectors. Okay, when we were working with vectors. Okay, so yeah, we shall take a look at the next advanced part in future parts. Okay, so why should we use iterators? So iterators allows us to have uniform access to different containers. Okay, and for that we have safe and efficient transversal. Okay, and it's also better when you are working with STL algorithms. Okay, so it's better to use iterators. Okay, so in summary, iterators help us move through STL containers. They act like pointers and allow reading and modifying elements. So understanding iterators is key to mastering the C++ STL So if you enjoyed this part, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next part.